When you're using the lightShark in a larger venue, you may want to connect your console to a larger network so that not only are you not using the internal Wi-Fi antenna so you can get more range, but also to be unified as part of a larger network that you're using for show control. Now, if you're new to networking, this may seem like something that is very confusing or very difficult, but actually it's not. And I'm going to walk you through the basic steps to get started, whether you're just using a simple router externally or whether you're connecting to a network in some sort of institution or a larger building. So the very first thing I've done here is I've created a new show, and I'm going to go up here now and head into the main menu. This is the key step and where we're going to spend our time today. Now, on the network setup page, the first thing that I would probably recommend doing is if you're not going to use the internal wireless, just turn it off. There's no reason not to, okay? Because if you're not going to use it, it doesn't need to be on. Now, these are the default settings right here. We can see our DMX streaming is on, and it's set to 2.0.0.1. Again, if you're using ArdNet nodes and things, this may work for you. You may need to change it. But what we're going to look at here is for control. So right here, the Ethernet interface, it's always going to show us the active IP address, even if it's not set to static. So we can see here right now, okay, the static IP address is off, but it shows us that the IP address is this, 192.168.0.113. And so what's happening here is my router that I've got plugged into it here directly into the Ethernet port on the back of the lightShark, that router is assigning this IP address to the console. Then the subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. And what that means at the most basic level is that if this console is going to talk to other devices on the network, those devices need to be in the 192.168.0 range, and then the last number needs to be different. But having that 255 there for those first three octets means that these first three numbers need to match. Now, the gateway is simply just the IP address of your router, and normally out of the box, it's going to be set right there. Again, if you need to configure it more deeply, you can, but for somebody who's just getting started, this should be fine. Now, what I would recommend doing here as we get into this is I would set this to a static IP address. You can leave it as it is, but this is just going to make it so that you can always access the lightShark via the same IP address through your web browser every time. Okay. Now, once you've set this up, turning off the wireless and turning on the Ethernet, we've got our router plugged in, all that's good to go. We can press apply and then reboot the console. Once the console restarts, we can verify everything by heading into the main menu, going back to the network setup, and what we can see is that only one of these changes has happened at a time. And so it's very important that we've set the static IP, and now we'll just go in, set the wireless to off, restart the console, and at which point, once it reboots, we'll be able to see here that it's good to go and everything has been set up, and now you're ready to roll. Now, what you should be able to do if you connected previous to this point via the built-in Wi-Fi, when it restarts here, you should be able to connect to your new wireless router, connect to that network for control, and you'll be able to go to the IP address that we've set here in this network settings window. In this case, it's 192.168.0.113, and be able to get the lightShark's interface through your new router. Congratulations. See, this networking stuff wasn't as hard as it seemed.